Oh, here we are again. We're back to Bazette and the adventures of Bazette and Avenger. How many resurrections does this make, I wonder? I can hear voices. They curse at me, the one who, while sinking into death, fell past it again and again. Unable to escape death, they cry that it's unfair that I get to live again. My entire body hurts enough to suffocate. The voices of accusations beset me. Die, give up, serves you right, I can't see. They grow stronger each time I hear them. I want to die. I can't stand this. Filthy, disgusting. I can't see anything. I want to die. I don't want to hear this. If I have to go through this, I don't want to come back to life. But even I got used to that. Die. Then get it over with and kill me. Laughable. Then go ahead and enjoy yourself. Repent. Yes, I've already repented again and again. It's your fault. Right, it's all somebody's fault. Disgusting. That's because I'm not dressed up. Inhuman. This mirror is foggy. It's just like he's gonna try to... he has an argument for everything. It's like, yeah, well that's just because you suck. Demon. Yes, that's right. A human isn't capable of doing this. I move past the many voices and begin to breathe again. It's not that painful from here. Rather, I can even feel relief. As long as I get away from that prison, what comes next is close to the joy of birth. Prison, yes, that place matches the description of a prison. Slander, insults, derision. The stripping of human rights, dignity, and freedom. An afterlife derived from that should be known to any person. Suffering for an eternity, without pause, in Buddhism, is called the hell of uninterrupted suffering. But that is vaguely different from where I came from. There wasn't only pain. That place had eternity and emptiness. Both were beyond reach and had no meaning even if they weren't. That's why it was painful. Because even if I gained them by some miracle, I could never understand what wasn't meant for human hands to hold. I raise my body from the sofa. Still feeling drained after a resurrection that I have dealt with for the umpteenth time, I check if I have control of my left hand. Yo, wide awake, eh, master? The now typical morning greeting from my servant. He is sitting with his back turned away, still working on his puzzle apparently. It could be solved in just a matter of minutes, but he must have taken a liking to it. That part of him is just like a child's. If only that innocence showed in his regular behavior. Tell me, was I able to take Assassin down with me? Nope. It was a one-sided defeat. That straight right punch of yours hit air, while his Zabania blew your head off. Oh, so this is Zero Assassin. You just had to see it. Slapped you on the head and your brain went boom, blew off your whole torso. Now turning a brain into gunpowder to blow somebody up, that's a pretty complicated way of killing somebody. I mean, if he already had his hands on your brain, he could have just pulled it out. My servant is prattling on cheerfully. Ugh. I imagine my body without its upper half and sicken myself as a result. I recall my fight with Assassin. I met Assassin's master by accident at the forest behind the school. Oh, so she met Zoken? The enemy consisted of just one lone master. As I saw no servant, I charged into combat. Well, that was a bad idea. That's obviously a trap. The enemy master was a skilled doll user and controlled countless automata as if they were his own limbs. The French dolls, equipped with precise killing mechanisms, were a threat, but I was well acquainted with how to deal with dolls. Well, that doesn't really sound like Zoken. I also have had experience fighting in a free-for-all with the monsters nesting in the city, so it was a simple matter to overwhelm the master. If only one of the dolls had not worn a skull mask. A servant? The moment I realized what he was, I was hit by multiple poisonous needles. Assassin, a class where one specific heroic spirit is chosen, but whose abilities change with each Holy Grail war. As the name that was the source of the word assassin was one that multiple assassins inherited, a different one would become assassin for each war. Assassin is a group, not one being, and of them, the assassin selected this time was a midget of a height no taller than up to an adult's knees. So, yeah, I kind of forgot about that from Fate Zero. Yeah, there are multiple assassins, so they could all wear that mask. It's not just the one that one from Fate Zero that also shows up in Heaven's Feel. I think it was I forgot what his real name was. I think it was like Hassan, something like that. I don't think it's him. Maybe it doesn't sound like him. Was he like that when he was alive, or was this a special characteristic exaggerated by becoming a servant? Well, maybe it could still be him, but maybe he's been deformed somehow. Assassin did not have the build of a dwarf that would appear in a fairy tale. He had a form as cultivated as that of an acrobat. He could have been a clown from a circus, a worthless heroic spirit with a small body. However, it was a strong advantage for the class of assassin. Not only did it make detecting his presence difficult, the area that could be hit was overwhelmingly small. His speed was among the fastest of the servants. Tracking his body racing through the trees with unmodified eyes was difficult. In addition, the reason for the name was the one-hit noble phantasm he possessed. By the time I fully understood the disadvantage I had on this terrain, the poison had immobilized my legs. I was confident that I could catch him on a flat plain with nowhere to hide, but in a forest with many obstructions I was helpless. Knowing that, I made my final bet using my life as a gambling chip. I used the left side of my body to lure Assassin out of the shadow of the trees. Assassin would judge that I could not retaliate, then move towards my left side at lightning speed. I would then counterattack with a full force straight right into him. The timing was perfect. The charging assassin couldn't dodge either left or right and couldn't completely nullify the effects of the impact by blocking. That was the drawback of having a small body. Yet, not even that slowed him down. Just before impact, he jumped and landed on my fist with a comical plop. On my straight right, the one I prided on having a speed of 80 kilometers per hour, as a counter no less. No way! I do have a rich record of swords in combat, but this was the first time that I'd seen an enemy scuttle towards me on my arm. It brought into my mind images of unbelievably miraculous deeds, such as standing on the tip of a lance. Assassin extended his left hand to my face, and my consciousness was cut off at that point. So she was killed by a midget. What a nightmare, I mutter. What's wrong? Body still stiff? No, my body's perfectly fine. I've grown accustomed to resurrection as well. The soreness I am now enduring is thanks to you. I remembered the very last moment, the feeling of having my forehead touched by Assassin's hand. Oh, whoops, my bad. Sorry for my lack of consideration. Cackling, he continues with his puzzle. What he's really laughing at is my own failure. This is nothing like teasing. That man is host to a personality disorder that makes him laugh over sad news as much as over anything comical. I have grown used to that as well. So, Avenger, did you carry me back? Nope, I was killed too. We're both back to the first day since I got wasted just before midnight. There's been almost no progress. How many days have passed since I woke up in this mansion? We haven't even passed the 4th night yet. Yeah, and I don't think you will. Apparently nobody can pass the 4th night. Perhaps out of disappointment with myself, I grasped the earring in my pocket unconsciously. I took it with me when I left my country. It's probably some kind of a protective charm. I don't remember why I had brought it, but it must be something like an amulet, judging by how carefully I kept it tucked away. But you know, it really wasn't your fault, Master. I mean, that assassin was just too messed up. You really did hit him too. Well, it's not worth torturing yourself over now, is it? You've got me as a handicap. You want to be proud of yourself, making that guy use a noble phantasm in your first fight with him. Nonsense. No matter how well I fight, it means nothing once I No, that's our advantage. I haven't made full use of it yet, but this servant can bring the dead back to life. As long as our contract is still in effect, I will continue to be resurrected. I see. Yes, there's nothing wrong with continuing in this manner. No, this in itself is your weapon. We should make use of it. Mutual destruction is good enough. By gaining information on the enemy like this, eventually we will be able to defeat them using the appropriate preparations to ensure victory. We have the advantage. Now that I know Assassin's physical traits, all that has to be done is to somehow lure him onto flat terrain. I clench my right fist. At this rate, I don't have to wait for the enemy masters to be weakened. A perfect victory is achievable. If I eliminate them one by one straight out, even the association would treat me My, you sure are the adaptable one, aren't you, Master? And here I thought you would be depressed over losing all the time, or disappointed in me for being useless. No, well, yes, but... Come to think of it, what am I thinking? Even if I do have this ability, I've been defeated again and again. I'm becoming careless. Had I tried hard enough, I should have been able to defeat Assassin. But instead, I'm taking my time, prolonging the final battle until I feel that I have learned enough about his abilities. It is as if... No, that couldn't be true. As the representing Magus of the Association, I'm only fighting battles that can't be lost. Well, it's not like we have a deadline, so I don't really care. But you know, we are sort of wasting time here. The servant stands up. Leaving the puzzle unfinished, he walks towards the entranceway. Let's keep on going. There's still places you haven't checked, right? Led on by the servant, I also rise up from the sofa. Carrying a rock over my shoulder, I grip the earring in my pocket one more time, and leave for the Holy Grail War. Well, I mean, this could be like, you know, Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow, where you just, you know, keep going through loops, and then the more loops you go through, the more you learn about your opponents and everything else around you, and then the next time through, you're able to perfectly deal with the situation, you know, and not make any mistakes because of how many times you've died and gone through that situation already. But, I don't know, I'm guessing, you know, because that would basically be your advantage with this, you know. You basically, you make all sorts of mistakes, and then the next time through, you know the mistakes you've made, and then you correct them. And so, that way you could perfectly, you know, you just have like one perfect run almost. This is going to be a little sudden, but Bazette Fraga Mikromitz is one weird lady. You just figured that out? Her outsides and her insides are weird. First of all, they don't match. Now, on the outside, she looks like my personal favorite, the dignified, mature woman. What's on the inside, though, is a lowly coward with no self-esteem. To hide that, she's put her body and psyche through some rigorous training. My guess, rather, what I'd like to be true, is that she's the kind of woman that likes bullying herself. Has to be that. Yeah, after all, she was able to put herself through more training than normal. The able woman armor she built up out of all that sure is a tough one. Good looks and structural strength all but guaranteed. Except, if you want to be able to move wearing a suit of armor, it's got to have a few gaps, and that's where I sometimes get the opportunity to see the real Bazette peeking through. I don't have to bother saying what it's like. Anything protected by a suit of armor for years ought to be kinda like a smooth-boiled egg without a shell. Refreshingly cute enough to make me want to munch parts of it away. But the thing is, no matter how adorable the insides might be, the armor she's built up for over 10 years is too damn stubborn. Once she gets into mission battle mode, any man would probably drop whatever fantasies or lust he could possibly have for her. Here's an example that just happened. I'm hungry. Let us go obtain nutrients. That came out of nowhere. After beating the crap out of 3 monsters, she said that as if she was measuring her pulse. You may come along. I'm sure that you are not satisfied with just the magical energy that I'm supplying. Said a master that was awfully caring of her servant. Except, the place she barged into without any hesitation was the beef bowl store right in front of us. Gah. Even I knew about this. The cheapest, worst, and most common place to eat in Shinto. Just so you know, even if there was nobody around, there were plenty of other places to get a meal. There was even one of those expensive places that seemed like they'd suit Bazette just 100 meters ahead. But she still picked the place in front of us. No mistake, she picked it because it just happened to be the closest one around. Do you have a problem? Nah, not really a problem. It's just odd. Then let's go. Remember to materialize yourself. There was no stopping her. In the end, Bazette paid for the food coupon in a snap, got beef bowls and miso soup for 2, gobbled it all down in 3 minutes flat, and went outside. Are you sure there isn't a problem? Kind of a combination of being a problem and being weirded out. Did that stuff taste any good to you? There was a large amount. The soup was excessive. However, the time it took to prepare was less than a minute. I find that wonderful. Let us use that store from now on. That's all she had to say about it. She saw mealtime as nothing more than a way to get nutrition. Unrefined and unreasonable is what it was. We were looking at the base of one of the known masters, Tosaka. After a thorough investigation, we judged that no one was inside. Avenger, can you disable the lock on the gate? Well, I might be able to see how it works if it's a simple one, but you'd be able to do it for sure. You're the great Magus from the Association, after all. Lockpicking is not among my specialties. I will entrust this to you. And that's how I ended up doing it. My master is weak at this kind of delicate work, apparently. Made for total violence, she is. Okay, leave it to me. Give me some time. This one's gonna be a little tough. I shoved my arm into the roots of a tree in a garden that sat to the side of the entryway. Astral bodies are useful for stuff like this. I can overlay my own circuits onto magic somehow. 10 seconds. 20 seconds. 30 seconds. 40 seconds. Jesus Christ. She just broke the gate open. What the hell are you doing, lady? She just plain out smashed the whole damn thing to oblivion. I'm raiding. Cover me. Well, good thing Tosca's not here. That was her only excuse. No, that wasn't even an explanation, and more importantly, this wasn't a raid. Putting her leather gloves on, Bizet charged into the enemy's base with no hesitation. Unrefined, unreasonable, and lazy is truly what it was. Jesus Christ. Well, she likes to do things the more violent way. I can see what he means when he says that she's violent. It didn't even like, she couldn't even wait a minute. She's just like, let's break this gate down. We finally reached the park. Physically, I'm only a little tired, but mentally, I'm exhausted. If I could dematerialize, I'd be able to cut the physical fatigue, but since I can't, I have to walk on my bare materialized feet. Water. Water. I head for the park fountain. There are drops of white liquid on the road, starting from the top of the hill and leading to where I am now. That's right, it's traces of the milk that I've been soaked with. What the hell? Why has he been soaked with milk? Hey, don't move away. We're on the same side, aren't we? Come closer, master. I swivel around. Whoa, Bizet of all people is laughing. Listen here, lady. All this happened because my master didn't think before she acted. I'm looking like this because I jumped into harm's way to save your ass. While I'm at it, I came all the way down here without washing myself off at the mansion's tub or some other places because you told me not to. So I followed all of her instructions and this is my reward? What kind of a spoiled princess does she think she is? Oh, I'm thankful for your efforts. Had you not been there, I'd be the one like that. Like hell you are. Shit, I think I'm going to give her a big hug to not leave her out of the fun. And she skillfully dodged. What's the matter, Avenger? The water's that way. Perhaps milk got in your eye? I am so going to kill you. If we're going to run with the cow theme, I want to give Bull versus Matador a try. Then again, there is no way I'd ever catch that walking weapon. Ah, shit. I should have ignored that trap. Nuts. Missed an event scene. Did he just break the fourth wall there? Come to think of it, I guess I really did lose out. An unlovable woman like Master drowning in milk would have been one hell of a tasty sight. Avenger, I order you as your master. Shut up and wash your body now. Oh, sounds like she didn't like that joke. Alright, I say, and go to remove the filth from my body. Once the excess is removed, I can dematerialize. While I'm covered with that milk, dematerialization is impossible. It could have been an anti-servant trap, but it might also have had a more dramatic effect on a normal body. Anyway, we hadn't found anything worthwhile in that mansion, and on the way out, it's activated when intruders leave, I bet. We set off a trap in the entranceway. Why milk, though? That is a good question. Why the hell would milk pour on somebody when they're leaving? I guess it's just to expose servants that might be invisible. Don't tell me there's some kind of a belief about animal tits being wards in this country. What? Oh god. Didn't think so. This is seriously just supposed to be a prank, ain't it? Maybe. Maybe not. It's a merciful one, however. You are lucky that it was new, fresh milk, right, Avenger? She points out the silver lining to this while smothering her laughter. That's not what the problem is, lady. We continue our patrol. To kill the monsters and to find the masters, Bizet wanders the city under the presence of both. What a roundabout way of doing things. This isn't to win the war. Bizet is looking for something else. What makes it roundabout is the fact that Bizet herself doesn't realize it. She's anxious because she can't totally forget that. Makes me want to have a certain idiot, who forgot about his own power, follow her example. I wonder who he could be referring to there. She's acting a little strange. Maybe she had some bad experience at a harbor, after looking at the sea for some time. Avenger, we have fought many masters. The servants accounted for are Saber, Archer, Caster, Rider, Assassin, and you. The only enemies that we have yet to encounter directly are the Master and Servant of the Ainsburns. Yeah, sounds about right. Of course, I'm not really happy that so far there's been nothing but black marks. Yes, we have yet to achieve a single clear victory. No matter how exceptional of a familiar the servant we face may be, this should not happen. Bizet grits her teeth, not from the pain of defeat, but because she's trying to rouse herself. I know that I'm being apprehensive, but I would still like to hear your opinion. Do you think we can win? It is a fact that we are inferior in strength, but if we continue on like this, one of these days we should win the war, right? Her eyes ask. We're losing because we don't have enough experience. If Bizet uses me a little for fighting, and if I tell her what my real noble phantasm is, there's no servant we can't handle. Well, we'll pick up a victory pattern of sorts anyway, so I really don't need to tell her now, but... One of these days, we'll stop losing. But more importantly, Master, you're using we instead of I, now for this talk about winning. I just had to point that out because I found it amusing. No, did I? I didn't mean that consciously, but... Now that's interesting. So you trust me unconsciously, is that it? What? Is this love? Can I interpret this as love growing towards me as a friend? Don't be ridiculous. So, what proof do you have that we will not lose? Tell me honestly, without hiding anything. Yeah, I don't think he's actually revealed his noble phantasm yet, has he? I don't have proof yet, but there will be results eventually. You've got a trump card that can take out servants, right? Just like that, I've got a trump card that'll stop a servant for a little while. Since we've got both of these, the rest is up to how we use them. We just need to work on the timing for that from now on. Trump card? Do you have multiple noble phantasms? Nope, I only have one. As for resurrection, well, that's not me. That's ability that got added on later when I became Angrimayu. My noble phantasm is an imitation of Avesta, you see. Well, I'll tell you more when we get back. Avesta is a support-type noble phantasm that records events by its own volition, on the level of an automatic typewriter, basically. Absolutely useless in fight. The advantage is that it is able to put into words emotions that are indescribable and ones that you wouldn't even be aware of. A noble phantasm that's incapable of harming anyone befitted the name of Avesta, the book that inscribes all things correctly. My noble phantasm, yeah, it's just a little bit of an imitation of that, but... Anyway, if you want to stop losing, you're going to have to get serious too. In combat, you're the best of the masters. You might even be able to defeat a servant with your bare hands. So what's with the low self-esteem? So, his noble phantasm is basically copying things. I guess copying things and reproducing them? Sounds like that's what it is. That is true. I have no intention of losing even if I'm dealing with servants, except all I can do is fight. I believe that I am, the worst of the masters in other skills. So what? There's nothing wrong with that. Wonder why you're feeling guilty about being tough. Pretty damn ugly, that kind of attitude. What? I don't feel any particular guilt. Not at all. I have no feelings nor regrets toward any of those I have killed. Ooh, that's refreshing, Iron Woman. Keep fighting with that attitude. Of course, if you go overboard, I'm going to look pretty dumb. Lady, as you are right now, you're 10 times stronger than me, you know. Yes, I'm well aware of that. After all, on the very first day, I was made painfully aware of just how useless you are in battle. Right. Oh yeah, but when it comes down to a human-killing competition, I'm number one. Natural inclinations, you see. Wait, maybe not number one. I'm either second or third. There's a better murderer than you? Yep, that's right. There's this dog and Spider. These guys, you see, I just can't keep up with them no matter what I do. I can match up in quality, but speed? Speed's on a whole different level. Never got into a competition with them or even met them, but I understand it as an undeniable fact. It's just how a spider knows how to spin a web from the moment of birth. I learned that's how the rules were from the moment I was called Angrimayu. So as a heroic spirit you are bound by the condition of not being able to win in speed, I see. Avenger, you told me that you were called Angrimayu, but that should not be your true name. What was the name that you had when you were alive? I told you. I don't know. As I said, I don't have one. If Angrimayu is too hard for you to pronounce, you can just call me Angra. That cannot be true. You should be able to remember your own name. I take that back. I, of all people, should not be the one to be saying this. However, a name is the beginning of everything. A name given at the moment of birth, if you think about it, is the expression of one's life. If you cannot remember, you should not be able to whistle with that kind of ease. Damn, you're dense. Get this, my name is gone. It was taken from me when I was treated as a hero. The town I'm from produced some first-rate curses, if nothing else. It's been stripped from me by curses, so I don't know what birth name I was called by. Even if you order me to remember, that record just doesn't exist anywhere in the world anymore. A name, if you think about it, is your own life, huh? She's got a bit of a silver tongue on her. I just can't sit back and lose to her, so I guess I'll tell her a few things. This is a common old story. In it, there's a man whose life is saved by his friend. To save the man, that friend died. The man took the name of the old friend who died to save him, and from then on, saved the lives of many. This was to give what remained in the world after, his deeds, his life, everything, to his friend who had wagered his life for him. There's nothing heartwarming about a story like that, not at all. To put it simply, That man died long ago when he swore to lie about his own name and use his friends. Then your birth name is no longer... Doesn't exist, nope. But I like the name I have now, since I've been called this longer than my birth name. I've got some attachment to it, and it's got a nice homely feel. I see, you have lost your birth name, but your next name was one that you were fondly called as a hero. Even if it is a title, it is a name that gained acclaim from people. Of course, you would like it. Forgive me, I must apologize to you. I came to a hasty conclusion and ended up showing you unwanted pity. Well, you don't have to worry about that, and it's nothing to apologize about. It's okay to come to a hasty conclusion, but pity is bad. If you're going to pity me, give me some love instead. Please love me. Well, as a penalty, let's put the spotlight on you next. A name's a life, right? Your name sounds like a big deal. There's got to be some big stories along with it. Stories from when I was younger? No, let's stop here. They would only bore you. There's nothing that you would enjoy. Hey, I don't mind if they're boring. See, you wanted to apologize to me, right, Master? Don't worry. As long as it's something I haven't heard yet, it's interesting to me. I understand. It really is true that the source of all disasters is the mouth, I see. That's absolutely right. Oh, but most myths have something good happening after a disaster. It'd be nice if my master could get that kind of special reward, too. That is all there is to my work record. Are you satisfied? No, we didn't get to hear it. Well, I got an objective understanding of it. I guess it was boring. Bazette's story told only the straight truth. Bazette's family came from an ancient Magus lineage, starting as far back as the Age of Gods, apparently. They were originally a great rune house that served the gods and were granted a special ritual that the other lineages didn't have. You could say they were the super elite, except they set themselves up in the middle of nowhere and they didn't have anything that could be called a clan. Elite, but elites without fortune or fame. Their prestige was at least of the highest grade. But what they had to show for it was a training hall out in the sticks dedicated only to barely passing on the ritual to one child in the family each generation. Bazette, the successor to that house, strove to learn the ritual since she was born, and reproduce that ritual as if it was nothing, just like her ancestors. God's Holder. A magic trait that was passed down continuously since the Age of Gods, different from a magic circuit. To think he was able to last for thousands of years. That's a shock. Yeah, well, from what I heard, it wasn't so much from the genes of the bloodline, but from a pathogen that was living in a particular something that was kept for generations. Something like that. Bazette, who finished her training and gained the name Fraga, didn't say why she joined the Mages Association. But I could figure it out even if she didn't talk about it. Basically, she wanted to train herself in front of many more people to overcome her feelings of obligation. Bazette ignored her parents' objections and contacted the association. The association invited the unexpected new nobility into their ranks. The association welcomed their new comrade, one that passed on the lost arts, and Bazette was invited into the Mages Association with much fanfare. But the welcome that awaited her was just a formality. Didn't look like there was a place in the association for Bazette. Magi are very conscious of competition. Despite being an exclusive lot, the Mages Association, which has guarded its authority for hundreds of years, is a place of power struggles rife with scheming on the inside. They want power to appeal to the outside, but on the inside, newcomers that shine too bright are worse than incompetent underlings. Basically, there hasn't been a seat for a new house to sit in for centuries in the Mages Association. Even so, Bazette tried her best, overdoing herself even for the association where she was unwanted. She was seen as more of a nuisance the more results she produced, was treated as a tumorous authority figure, and in the end, the association sent her to the front lines to get rid of her. The Sealing Designation Enforcers. The job of the Mages Association's prized crazies. Their equivalent of the Holy Church's heretic inquisitors, the Executors. A sealing designation refers to the restraining, capture, and lifetime confinement of uniquely gifted or taboo-breaking magi in the name of protection. Bazette was chosen to be one of those who carry out this deed. After that, it seems she just flew around the world solving problems, obeying the orders of the association for years. Pretty faithful of her, considering she doesn't get an equivalent reward for all that. That was the background of Bazette Fraga Micromitz. There's a lot that I want to make jabs at, but the point I want to hit at the most would be, you know, there's absolutely no min in it at all. Just magic? Give me a break. What, you don't have a boyfriend in your hometown? I do not, nor do I feel the need to have one. Don't need one? What the hell? Even if you don't need one, they're there normally. Where's the daily fun without one? I am used to solitude. I am not sad, nor am I lonely. Even if I cannot fill in the feeling of lacking something, I can keep on moving along. This looks severe. Need or don't need, lonely or sad, lacking something or your other half. What a bunch of bull. This lady, she's never had a man in her life. Yeah, that much is obvious. Hey, are you a virgin? Obviously. I'm looking at my partner very seriously, just like how a squirrel would nibble on a walnut, with honesty, diligence, and sometimes sharpness. My master inches a half step back. I have had some work-related experience, but I do not understand the point of the question. I don't think that kind of matter has anything to do with the Holy Grail War. Well, if your servant needs a pana, it might. So she has gotten some. Now that's mighty fine, but I wasn't messing with you just for fun's sake alone. I messed with you for fun's sake and because it's a bit relevant. No, it's relevant. I'm talking about whether you're as strong as a human being. Master, you shouldn't overlook love. It's the strongest motivating factor in human behavior. Well, he's not wrong. Okay, vengeance is pretty strong too, but after that's done with, there's nothing left in the end. Its explosive power is strong, but it doesn't produce anything, so it adds up to pretty much zero. I don't understand your point. What I do know is that you are making fun of me. Angramayu, I've had enough of your not... Hey, this is serious stuff. I'm talking about love, you know? Love. It's one of the most powerful basic emotions. Human beings can become strong because of love, right? That building block is missing in you for one reason or another. Since I'm fighting with you, I'm a little worried. I give her a serious answer. She listens to it seriously, too. I cannot trust you. Your love is the wicked sort. And first of all, this sort of topic should not be spoken about so lightly. It'll lower its value, huh? Another charming comment. Why is that? It's not okay to talk about it all that seriously, not as if it's something to be embarrassed about. Please love me isn't something you say to express that you're feeling lonely. You say that when you're having fun and you want to have even more. I love you, that's a common greeting. Or is it that you don't like any sort of the people you meet? If that's the case, it's you that's making enemies. Fine. I will take that advice into consideration. For a boy, you sure are a smooth talker. Well, thank you. The thing is, I might be a brat, but I'm not a kid. Okay, it doesn't make me an adult either. I stopped being a child, that's all. Is that so? You look like an impertinent young boy to me. One that is 5 years younger than me. Oh? Master, how old are you? Don't ask a woman her age. 23 years old. What about it? Okay, well, she didn't seem to have any hesitation saying that. Get out of here! You're that young? I thought you were almost 30. Uh-oh. Oh, you shouldn't have said that. Whoops. Kill me meter is heading into critical zone. Amusing. And what made you think that, Avenger? Yeah, the mouth really is the source of all disasters. I mean, your history on your own sounds pretty long. You're too used to your job, right? Just try telling me when you moved out into the adult world. It was when I was 15, but I do not think it was too early. As I had been training until that time, there was no problem in terms of ability. Oh my god. So she had really, like, no life as a teenager. Probably no childhood either. Uh-huh. So from that point on, you've been wearing that costume, huh? I see. I can see how 23 years of that can stiffen somebody up. Now it makes sense. The armor she's wearing is a masterpiece seasoned by years of service. Were you even listening? I said my career is 8 years long. That's just the number of years you've been wearing that armor. I'm talking about your awkwardness record. Jeez, if an average person's childhood is about 10 years, that would make you already 33 years old. So because you were already an adult when you were born, add in that 10 years from childhood, and that'd put you over the big 30, wouldn't it? 15 years older than the current me, huh? That's quite the... Wait, Hey, so my gut instincts about you being closer to 30 were right. I nodded gruffly. I think she's fed up with me from the bottom of her heart. She just stands there without saying a word. Break time is over. Let us return to the city and continue the investigation. Gotcha. Let's keep our spirits low just like we always do. I walk ahead of Bizette. Are you making a fool of me? Huh? Well, you are a fool, ain't you? We're not half bad in terms of balance. A brat that stopped being a kid. An idiot that threw away being a child from the start. Huh? Hey, Master! Bizette stops dead in her tracks. She doesn't move an inch. Maybe she found something. What? Find anything interesting, Master? I approach her while scratching my head. I wonder what is wrong with me. I hate to admit it, but it is as you say, Angramayu. I am a fool. When called that so bluntly, I cannot completely deny it, she said with a natural tone of voice. What? Nobody ever told you before? Maybe they were too afraid to. No, there had not been anyone around me like you that would say things to my face. This woman has absolutely no luck. There are plenty of good men that would say that much, yet she just didn't have the luck to meet any. I did not know about this. To have my weakness pointed out by someone means that I've been acknowledged. It is slightly irritating, but I feel more at ease somehow. Yes, being this relaxed when I'm with you seems just right. After all, it is not worth the stress for only me to be tense. Well, at least they somehow compliment each other. I'm like, how in the hell is this your servant? Like, you seem too, like, totally different. But maybe they're more alike than we realize. There's no sense in staring too long. This kind of sight is rare among the scenery that I will eventually grow tired of. This is probably the only time it'll happen anyway. Then shall we be off, Angramayu? We will be going to the industrial region of Shinto next. Okay, Master. If you're going to call me by my name, call me Angra. It's too long, right? There's not much of a difference between Angra and Angramayu. If you would like me to shorten it, then I will call you by Angra. But I feel that it sounds rather like Henry, which is too normal of a name. It is a common name and does not seem right for a heroic spirit. Stop worrying about weird stuff. Huh. Oh yeah, you'd be concerned about it. Master's name isn't a normal one, eh? Would have been better if we could trade. Oh wait, they're both masculine names, aren't they? Yeah, Henry and so on are bland names, but they're downright cute when compared to the one my master's been saddled with. The name Bizette is very ugly, kind of sharpish you could say, or lacking in femininity. Angramayu, I thought I told you that a person's name is their life. I take it that you were prepared for the consequences of turning one into a joke. No, ma'am. Don't have any of that preparation and got no complaints about Master's name. No, ma'am. Very good. I forbid talking about this from now on. So with that said, we return to the city of the Holy Grail. The night patrol is, well, fun in a way. I understand a little now why someone might continue this for days and days. Just understanding it doesn't mean that I share the sentiment, though. The night will continue forever as long as she wishes it to. The woman that I'm contracted to is unconsciously trying to make this battle go on longer, a continuous repetition without end. Nevertheless, the radiance will one day disappear. Even if the form remains, the color is getting duller. No matter how bright, something that has already been seen before does not have the radiance of birth. It's just like a solar eclipse, blackened, never to shine again. Huh. I'm acting like an idiot. Thinking about whose wish this was won't change a thing.